Moving on to chapter 3, Karma Yoga. So, Arjuna appears very confused after listening to Gyan Yoga, Karma Yoga, and he says, I am very confused. What do I do? Jayasi chet karma se matat buddhi janardana tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava. So you are talking good about Karma Yoga, Arjuna says, and you are talking about Gyan Yoga also. I don't know what to follow. So Lord Krishna says that for the ages I have been telling these two paths, Karma Yoga and Gyan Yoga. So you have to pick up one. But he says, realize that there is no point in time when you are without action. It's always you are engaged in some action. If you are sitting, that is action. If you are sleeping, that is action. If you are sitting idly, that is action. So, first thing is, always believe in doing something which creates intrinsic value. Situation is same. You sit lazily or you contribute something, generate value out of it, what you are doing right now. Situation is same, but if you use the situation effectively, I think you are making chances of your success higher in long term. Every moment you utilize very well for giving value-oriented output. Very important in work life, where a lot of people go for quick coffee breaks, tea breaks, long chats on phone. So if you just remain on course and be action-oriented all the time, keep talking, keep asking yourself, is this what I am doing right now? Is it producing some value right now, or it's not a value-oriented activity? Niyata kuru karma. So you have to keep doing work. So, and one of the important thing is, whenever we are adopting Karma Yoga, when in action, a lot of people externally say, yeah, I don't care about results, but internally they creep a lot. So that's the first theme in chapter 3 is internalization. Inside out, same thing. It should not happen that outwardly you say it doesn't matter, yeah, I'll get promotion next time. But inside you go back in the corner and then crib, you are not able to see properly when you are alone. Internalization is very, very critical. Famous Kabir words, साधु भया तो क्या भया, माला पहरी चार, बाहर भेष बनाया, भीतर भरी भंगार. I don't know if you make out Hindi, but it means that there is no point in becoming a saint and decorating yourself outwardly when your thoughts are so garbage inside. So there is no point in having that type of situation. So internalization is very important. Feel in your heart that I am true to my nature. It's okay if you do not, if externally you are different, if externally you behave like a normal person, that's fine. But internally you have to be very, very pure. That yes, from core of my heart, it doesn't matter to me if I succeed or fail. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tattva dhananjaya siddha asadhyo samobhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Equanimity of yoga is treating success and failures alike. That's what equanimity is. So in my heart I feel it doesn't matter. Outwardly if somebody is talking what you fail, yeah, fail, but that's it. So outwardly you can be engaging in discussions, but internally you are so solid, so pure that you take everything alike. There is a funny story about internalization. Is about dogs. Among the dogs, there is a spiritual dog. So this spiritual dog will always tell others that please do not waste all your energy in barking. He will tell all other dogs, he will assemble them and he will keep preaching them. Don't bark, barking wastes all your energy, and that's why we are not evolving. Stop barking completely. So all dogs would come and say that you are a spiritual dog, we are ordinary dog, how can we stop from barking? So it's in our genes to bark. But spiritual dog kept on preaching, these guys kept on barking. One day it was a spiritual dog's birthday. So So all dogs thought, let's give a gift to our Guruji. Nobody barks today. So it was pin drop silence. So the spiritual dog comes in evening, moves from one corner to another corner. There is no noise. He becomes restless. There is nobody to preach today. So he goes to a corner and starts barking. Now all dogs thought, oh, somebody broke the rule. They didn't realize that spiritual dog himself did it. So, and then suddenly everyone started barking, and again spiritual dog came into picture and says, guys, calm down, you should not be barking. So internalization is very important. Outside, inside, same thing. We cannot be something outside and something different inside, because that takes a lot of toll on you. Second theme in chapter 3 is success comes through sacrifice. अन्नात् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यात् अन्नसम्भवः यज्ञात् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञ कर्म समुद्भवः. Food is necessity for survival. For survival of all living beings, food is essential. Production of food depends on rain. Rain comes from sacrifices. I'll explain it to you why. Rain comes from sacrifices, and sacrifices are rooted in action. This is how world cycle is. Food comes from rain, rain comes from sacrifice, sacrifices are rooted in action. Why we say rain comes from sacrifices is the sacrifice which human beings make in keeping the ecosystem in order is responsible for timely rains and proper rains. Nowadays you can always find a lot of floods in certain areas, drought in certain areas, extreme situations on both the side. So that is an indication that we are going wrong in certain direction. So similar way, if you look at it from an organization perspective, action and then sacrifice. Sacrifice is not extended action. Sacrifice doesn't mean that instead of 10 hours, you work 14 hours. That's creating an imbalance. Sacrifice means that 10 hours means 9.5 hours are value-oriented hours. Every hour I spend is a value-oriented hour. That's definition of sacrifice. Success comes through sacrifice doesn't mean you create any imbalance in your life, but it means that you manage all the distractions so well that when you are at work, you are working like a deaf man. It's like so much focused on ensuring that the best output comes out of your work. That's your objective. So it's always critical that, so again, there is a management theory about this also, that individuals have different set of goals and objectives, and they think that there is a strong correlation between effort and performance. Favorable performance will result in desirable reward. Reward will satisfy an important need, and the urge to satisfy the need will make your effort worthwhile. So, management theories also say the same thing, that your effort will lead to a favorable performance, leading to a desirable reward. But out of manipulative practices, just reaching on top will not help. It might help for short term, but not on long term. So long term path is always a path of balance and path of sacrifices. So there is this person who came to know about a city where everyone followed the scriptures to the core. So nobody deviated from the scriptures. They lived life and they aligned themselves perfectly with their scriptures. So he went to that country, and as soon as he walked into that country, he observed that every person in this country was one-eyed and one-handed. So he was shocked to see this. He says, which conqueror has done this cruelty to you? How come all of you have this one hand and one eye? Who has taken all your hands and eyes? So all of them were thinking that this guy has both hands and both eyes. He must be a great person. Then they answered his question. They said, our one hand and one eye is doing of our own. So one of the old person took him to near the temple of the village, and near the temple there was a big heap of hands and eyes. So then old person explained that our philosophy, it was written near the temple, that if one eye disobeys, then discard one eye. If hand does a sin, discard the hand rather than getting your entire body contaminated. So then he asked, all the people in this village have one eye and one hand. They said all of them except those who cannot read scriptures. So then this person thought that I am anyway capable of reading the scriptures, so he just ran out of that village. So idea is that if you want to reach any level of perfection in anything, there will be some sacrifices required. So by sacrifices, that was an extreme example of people doing atrocities and then reaching the perfection state. But by sacrifice, the good definition of sacrifice is that you can feel pain in your muscle, but your bones should not suffer. That's sacrifice. When you do yoga, you might feel pain in body, you might feel inconvenience in body, but your bones should never suffer. So that's the second theme of chapter 3. So first was internalization, second was success comes through sacrifice, third one is a critical one. So most of you might have read it, that the analogy of chariot and body. Body is like a chariot. Soul is like owner of the chariot. Intelligence is rider. And reins are senses. Horses are sense objects. Control reins well and you will be in control of situation. A problem is different. Body and mind are the horses and intelligence is the owner or the rider. But the problem has become that intelligence has become a cart and body and mind will carry it wherever they want. So we have to realize the control levels in body. Indriyani paranyahu, indriyebhya paramana, manasastu parabuddhe, buddhe parasastu sar. Above body it is senses, above senses it is mind, above mind it is intelligence, above intelligence it is cosmic intelligence. We have to learn the art of using our intelligence very effectively to control the mind. Senses will drive you crazy all the time. The moment you are out in the world, it's an entirely materialistic world. Everywhere you turn your eye, there will be something distracting. By the way, there was beautiful research I read last week somewhere that those who watch TV more, those who looks at ads, they get more into depression and sadness just because watching these things doesn't excite. It's like if you watch ad of a high-end car, few times you will see ad, then you will say anyway I cannot acquire it, so it will result in depression. So it was a research done in one of the US universities where they found that materialistic life leads to depression and dissatisfaction in life. So we have to use our control levels very, very well because senses are very, very difficult. So there is a story about a philosopher. He was very upset one day morning. Chuang-Tzu was his name. So his disciples came and asked him, why are you so upset? He says, something terribly wrong I saw and I just don't know what's going on. He says, at least tell us. He said, I saw a dream in which I became a butterfly. So everyone started laughing. So what's great deal? You saw butterfly, people become anything in dreams. So what's so great about you becoming butterfly? So he said, you see, the problem is you're not understanding the problem. He says, if I can become butterfly, butterfly can also become Chuangzu. So how do I determine now that whether I'm in middle of dream or I'm living right now? So is it butterfly who is thinking that I'm Chuangzu the philosopher and I'm in middle of that dream, or I'm in reality? So that's how our senses are. They'll just totally cloud thinking completely. Your thinking gets totally clouded when your senses take control of your view. Body, ears, nose will smell. Senses will say, let's have it. Intelligence will say, no. This is not good for your body. But an enlightened person always looks at food as source of survival, and he always focuses on bland food. So quickly going back again and summarizing third chapter again. Third chapter, 3 themes were internalization, then success comes through sacrifice, and then third one was using your control level effectively. This body is owner of the cart, intelligence is the rider, and mind are reins. We cannot get carried away by mind. We have to rein the chariot with our intelligence, holding the mind tightly. So that's third chapter.